Good morning. I'm so glad you're here. This course is going to be so beneficial for you, for your patients, and for your practice. It's going to be great for your practice. I'm Dr. Laura Mach. I'm cisgender, and my pronouns are she, her. And I'm a general dentist, and I'm also a speaker and a coach, and I'm a mom. In fact, this is a picture of me on the day that I graduated from dental school. And that little, so those are my 3 kids there, and the little nugget down there in the front was born during my sophomore year. Yeah, it's crazy. 2 years ago in 2019, that little nugget came out to me as transgender and told me that he wanted to be known as Max and use the male pronouns. And honestly, it's been a wonderful journey. And look at him. He's perfect just the way he is. Excuse me. Most of our friends and family have been so accepting of Max, and they have been so full of love and just letting him be exactly who he is. And every now and then I run into somebody who needs a little bit more education or understanding for them to be able to take him just as he is. And then every now and then I run into somebody who feels like they need to actively correct what's happening here. Let me give you an example. One day I was in my dental practice talking to one of my patients, and she's been my patient for at least 10 years. And the subject of Max came up because in the past I was known as the dentist who had 3 daughters. So it was, well, now my youngest is Max, and he goes by he, him now. Oh goodness me, is everything okay? And I was like, yeah, everything's fine. Thanks for asking. He's happy, I'm happy, we're good. There's no problem here. A couple days later, I'm at home. I log onto my Facebook, and I saw that this woman, my patient, had tagged me in an anti-transgender video. And I was so mad. And I was like, how dare she try to tell me how to raise my child? And I wanted to dismiss her and her whole family and never have to talk to them again. But I took some time to really think about how I wanted to show up in that moment. And I decided that I wanted to show love instead of anger. And so I wrote her a letter, and I said, this is my boundary. I would love to continue to be your dentist, but I can't do it if you feel like you have to tell me how to take care of Max. And so it's been 9 months now, and I haven't heard from her, so we'll see what happens there. But the thing is that each of you who's in this course today, you're not here because you're trying to change your transgender patients. You're here because you want to try to do a good job taking care of them. But we have a problem in the dental office. And the problem is that a lot of us haven't been exposed and know personally someone who's transgender. We don't know what the rules are. So we're dentisting and we're on autopilot, and we're finding cavities and we're taking care of cavities, and we're just doing what we do best. And then the transgender patient comes in, and we want to be the best we can for them too, but we don't know what to say. We don't know what the etiquette rules are, and we don't even know how to ask what the rules are. So the purpose of this course is to sort of smooth out that speed bump for you. I'm going to teach you the rules of etiquette so that you can just continue on your day and stay on autopilot and doing your dentisting the best you can. So the first thing that I'm going to do is teach you some definitions. And the definitions will actually do the most that we need to do as far as helping you know what you need to say. So the first thing I want you to know is the term gender assignment. It's basically the baby comes out and we look at the genitals and we say, oh, it's a boy or it's a girl. And our expectations about that person begin as soon as we have that gender assignment. But there's another part to gender, and that's what happens in a person's mind. And this is gender identity. It's very different. It's how the person sees themselves. And so sometimes most of the time, 96% actually, the person sees themselves as the same as how they were assigned at birth. And this is cisgender. Cis means same. So I'm cisgender. I was born with female parts, and look at me. I'm all girl. Okay, this is how I express myself. But 4% of the population doesn't see themselves the same as what their body presented at birth. And this is transgender. Trans means opposite. So a transgender boy or man was born with girl parts, but sees himself as a boy or a man. And a transgender girl or woman was born with boy parts, but sees herself as a woman. Here's one verb that we want to try to avoid. This is called misgendering. And this is when we accidentally or on purpose use the gender that the person was assigned to instead of the one that they see themselves as. So if I use this in a sentence, it's, oh, my dentist keeps misgendering me. He keeps using the old pronoun. Okay, so we want to try to avoid that. And if we do it on accident, transgender patients or people, they don't mind. All you have to do is apologize and move on. Don't make a big deal out of it, just, oops, sorry, old habits, and then move on. And dead name is another term that's related to misgendering. It's about the same thing. So a dead name is also a noun. The dead name is the name that was given to the child when they were born that was associated with the assigned gender. So my dentist keeps dead naming me would be they keep using the old name instead of the new name. I want to talk to you for a minute about the process of how a person realizes that they don't see themselves as their assigned gender, and then how they get that information out into the world. So this is called transitioning. And there's two types of transition, two phases. There's social, and then there's medical. Social transition for Max started with a text message to me in the middle of the night. Surprise, I'm trans. That's what he said. And I want to go by Max. So the person starts to tell the world, tell their family, tell the friends at school, tell their extended family, I'm transgender, this is my name, this is my pronoun. It takes quite a bit of courage to get to that point for somebody. And then there's the medical transition, because we live in a time when we have technology where we can change primary and secondary sex characteristics to make a body match more to what the person sees themselves as. And I'm not going to get into a lot of details about the medical transition today, but there's one piece of information that will help you so much with the medical transition. I find that many people make the mistake of thinking that there needs to be a certain status of medical transition before we can use the correct pronoun and name. But I want you to understand that the status of the medical transition doesn't matter. So if you never have to say, oh, so are you a he yet? Or he's becoming a she. You don't have to say that. All you have to do is use the name and pronoun that the person suggested or requested, and you're good to go. And in fact, with the medical transition, it's not really very polite to ask, and you don't need to know, because what matters is how the person is presenting and showing themselves. And some transgender people don't ever get any medical treatment at all. They socially transition, and then they change how they dress, and that's it. They live their life just like that. So I have a couple of things that I want to suggest to you for being in your practice. When somebody comes to you and they say, hey, I'm transgender, all you have to do is use the correct name and pronoun and ask your team that they will do the exact same thing. And instead of being curious, be respectful. So, hey doc, I'm transgender. Oh, thanks for telling me. Let's talk about your tooth. That's respect. Curiosity might be, oh, you're transgender? Thanks so much for telling me. That's amazing and so cool. Hey, you know, my cousin's best friend is becoming a he. Okay, so I threw in another mistake for you. So we want to go more towards the respect than the curiosity. And the most important thing that I want you to know is transgender people are at a high risk for committing suicide. 40% of transgender individuals have tried to take their life at one point or another. And if you can treat them with the respect they deserve, then their dentist can be one more place where they're safe. Thank you very much.